Good evening again and welcome to another episode of the Final Flight podcast. We're back with another Cheltenham special. We're obviously with Kai Bosch, the weekend previews now. Last week we did the Novice Hurdlers. This week we're going to do the Novice Chases and probably the Mares Chase as well. We've got myself, James is back, Rich is back, George is back, and Joe
might be back.
Nowhere to be fucking seen. He is supposed to be joining us tonight. He's again struggling with his Wi-Fi. That's why I've got a fourth space. We're going to leave it blank to show that that's what it's like every time he turns up. Rich, obviously we did the Novice Hurdlers last week. It was a nice to just sit and sort of chat through all them. Novice Chasers this week. What are you thinking? Are you looking forward to this show, mate?
Yes. I don't know if I'm as excited as I am about the Novice Hurdlers, but there's still some nice ones to go through.
Yeah, I mean, George, obviously we had, Cuphead the Boards and all these sort of Final Demand, these sort of nice horses. Novice Chasers. Is there a lot to get teeth into tonight, do you think?
Yeah, definitely. The two non-handicap Novice Chasers, the two I'm most looking forward to. I've got a couple of sort of each way plays that I'm really, really looking forward to.
Yeah, that's what we'll like to. I mean, obviously we had, excuse me if I'm coughing all the way through, I'm still chuffing ill, but obviously we have the Arkle. We're going to kick off with the Arkle, and we would have been talking about Sergino and Mashborough. Unfortunately, Sergino's still fighting the good fight against his illness. Hopefully he can pull through from that. Mashborough's obviously the short price favourite. Leo de Sud's now clinging on to sort of 9-2. Django Bay is obviously going to go in instead now for Nicky. Only by Nights in him. Rich's Mares Chase pick looks like might be ending up in there potentially. Five Fox Touch Me Not. And sort of bigger the rest. Rich, obviously, I mean, you had Touch Me Not in the Mares Chase. Are you worried she's going to go here? What do you think of Mashborough? What are you thinking, mate? Talk me through your thoughts.
Well, it was only by Night, who is actually the mare. Touch Me Not is a year.
Yeah, I said only now by Night, didn't I?
No, you said Touch Me Not.
Oh, well, only by Night. I mean, the one that you put up for the mares.
Yeah, I mean, it's not great, is it? But anywho, it's a shame we've not got two superstars going off against each other. We're now down to one, and everything else in behind, I think, is quite closely matched. So I think there's quite a lot of place angles to try and tackle. I mean, Milesborough, I mean, he won at the DRF, former Triumph Hurdle winner. Yes, there's a few mistakes in the Irish Arkle, but I expect him to improve for that. And yeah, I mean, he beat Touch Me Not by 9 lengths. I can't see him turning that round. And then he's got Loaded Sword, Django Bay, only by Night. I mean, he should be winning this, shouldn't he? Let's be fair. One in behind him, I'd probably... Loaded Sword, I wasn't really impressed with him last time out against Rhubarb. I mean, he looked a bit workmanlike for me. It'll be his 5th run. I'm not massively keen on that either. Django Bay, obviously this wasn't the original plan. With Sergino being out, he's been diverted here again. Not a massive fan of that. It's Touch Me Not and Only by Night are the two interesting ones that I potentially would have a go each way on. I mean, Only by Night won a listed contest X to last time out, giving weight away. I thought she might step up and trip, but obviously I think the plan is going to come here now. So she's a Grade 2 winner. She'll get weight, I assume. So I think she's got a good chance. Touch Me Not. I can't see him beating Milesborough, but he was only 3 3/4 lengths behind Loaded Sud at Sandown on heavy. I think if it's decent ground, I think he'll close that gap and potentially could reverse that form. So yeah, they're the two I'd maybe chance each way, but yeah, Milesborough just wins, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean, they're all fair points. I mean, I'll come to you, George. Obviously, we had Sergino and he'll have been a lot of people's banker. What do you make of Mashborough and sort of? I mean, Leo de Sud's obviously got a bit of Cheltenham experience there. Do you think he could get close to him, or what do you think?
Right, yeah. Like I said, I'm really looking forward to this one, and this is going to be a little sneak preview of my Cheltenham cheat sheet that's going to come out the week before Cheltenham this year.
Nice.
I may as well say I'm only going to charge £5 for the 4 races, for the 4 days. Sorry.
Not a bad deal. That I think I remember your cheat sheet last year looked pretty decent. So yeah, good that.
Well, look, the way it works is every race I put up a win and an each way shout basically. So really, you don't want to be backing both. You shouldn't be having liabilities that high in each race. Even if you had backed every selection I put up, so 2 horses in every single race, you'd still have come out with a £23 profit to a £1 stake for the entire meeting.
You can't go wrong with that, mate, at all.
At the prices advised. So this is all going to be available for £5. You're getting a sneak preview on the Arkle and the Brown Advisory here. I'm not going to say everything I got written down because it'd take forever. But Masborough, I thought everyone was raving about him when he won on Chase debut. And people weren't as excited after the DRF, and yet he improved £13 on RPRs. That was over 2 mile 1 is worth bearing in mind. But people picked apart his jumping that day, and the way I read it was he was so good, he was so forward, winging fences the first time out. Mark Walsh was almost at pains to sit back on him and get him fiddling his fences, because in the Arkle you're not going to meet every single one right. Mm-hmm. You've got to know how to fiddle, and I think that's where people were a little upset that he made a couple of mistakes. But I think that was very intentional with teaching him how to look. Basically, otherwise you'd have made all in 2 races and learned nothing. You'd never have had to jump under pressure. If you're not going to be under pressure, you might as well put them in deep to a couple, make them fiddle, rather than being made to fiddle by another horse.
I think we'll talk a little bit more on that sort of thing later on, won't we? I think. Anyway, go on. Sorry.
100%. Anyway, he sets the standard, and he sets the standard despite being the most inexperienced chaser and a racehorse as a whole, with only 5 career starts and 2 over fences to his name, which means he's also the most open to improvement. Like he's pretty solid. He's probably one for multiples, I'd say, rather than, you certainly wouldn't back him anti-post. There's no point. And similar to Rich, Touch Me Not, I'm really keen on. I think it was talked about on this podcast a fair bit after his Chase debut. I think I might not be the only one that backed him each way for this at 40s at the time.
There's a couple. I think we are on a couple of bets on there. I think I've got him at a decent price on. I think about exchange though, to be fair. But
look, he was rated 125 on hurdles, and since going chasing, he's turned inside out. It's because he's got this attacking, low jumping style, which saw him make nearly all the running in the Craddock Stand. We beat Farron Glory by 6 lengths with Nürburgring behind. It's that bravery that nearly undid him at Sandown and Henry VIII. Like he made a mistake where if he was second, he'd have been pulled up, especially a novice with very limited experience. It was only because he was in front he had to keep going. He nearly fell and got back up again. Do you know what I mean? He made a horrific mistake.
I mean, he basically split the fence in 2, didn't he?
Exactly, yeah. And got back in a rhythm, which is impossible to do at Sandown for an older horse. Like, despite that, he was still second by 3 3/4 lengths to Load of Sud. I think if he doesn't make that mistake, I almost think he finishes in front of him on ground that doesn't suit. Which really begs the question why Touch Me Not's 14-1 and Load of Sud about 5-1, 11-2. Especially you think Only by Night might not run here. Ballyburn's definitely not running here. Django Bay is coming here now.
But are you sure? Are you sure Ballyburn's not running here?
Yeah,
sure?
Exactly. But this is what I mean. And he's 4, so it means he's going to be 4 favourite on the day. Surely he's not going to be 14-1, or is he 16s even now? I think
you could touch around about 16s. Yeah, what I've got on my screen here.
Look, while the run at DRF suggests he can't beat Masborough, the slightly shorter distance might even bring them a bit closer. And then he's beat Firefox comfortably that day. He might be the only other credible contender for the race. I can't see him out of the 3. And at that price, like I think if you're not on him now, I'd say you've got to back him now each way, because you'll get the 3 places, and you might not on the day. It's a bit difficult now. There's no turners knowing exactly how many horses are going to turn up here, but you can always back him again on the day if there are still 3 places. Like I'd at least have a small bet anti-post now, guaranteed 3 places.
Yeah, I mean, I'd sort of completely agree with you, to be honest. Like you say there, when you go through that market, if you kind of hang on a sec, whoa,
is he here?
He's made it.
No, lad.
Joe. Yes, Joe.
No, George. All right, mate. Oh,
right.
Are you in? Are you on?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Are we coming through loud and clear, mate?
Yeah.
He is.
Shuffing hell, this is the first.
It's only taken all season to get him on.
Oh, mate. Don't.
What's your excuse this time then, Joe?
I said because I've switched, haven't I, between short stay and long stay here. So I'm booked for the year now. So I'm under a different account. So when I was putting my account details in, no blocked. So I had to ring them on this bloody phone to get my account changed over, to then get them to send me an email over to verify me to get on. Where we at?
Tell you what, mate.
Oh, just finished, Joe.
Well, so
We've just finished, so thank you, everybody. Right, Joe, mate. Seeing as you're here, mate, luckily for you, you've dropped in at just the right time. We're on about the Arkle. Try not to cry. I know you had a decent whack on Sergino at a good price, didn't you? Obviously, we hope the horse does make a full recovery. That's the main thing, regardless of what we've put on. You know, we know the score. You also put Majbur up for the Browns. He's now short odds on for the Arkle. What are your thoughts on Majbur, mate? Are you fancying out against him? We were just sort of saying then, you know, if you were looking at this race as a single bet, is Majbur, you're taking him at a short price, or you're going to go for an each way against him and hope it cuts up and try and take 3 places on something?
It's tough, isn't it? I mean, you'd have to probably look at the place market, wouldn't you? But in terms of Ballyburn second favourite there, there's no chance, I don't think, really, the way he's jumped. Not that it's been bad, but I think he's a lot better over a longer trip. Majbur, I thought he'd be going over the longer trip, to be honest, but he seemed to show his speed, didn't he? And obviously, with Sergino out, not a boring market, but I'd say it's pretty nailed on that we know the horse who's going off favourite and the horse who's most likely going to win. The 3 market, to be honest, it doesn't really interest me. I think L'Heure de Sud is an obvious one, but you're going to get massive prices on that 92 now. I haven't really looked into the top 3 markets. I think Marge was pretty solid at the top of the market anyway. What do you lads think? Have you looked into the top 3? George, I know you will have.
We all like touch me not. Yeah, we all like touch me not. Just an each way shout, I think.
Yeah, I think if Touch Me Not puts it together and has a clean round, like you say, slightly shorter sort of trip, I think he could be a real danger there. Whether he'll beat Majbur is obviously another question, but yeah, for me, I think Touch Me Not's the each way play at 16s. I think we've all sort of agreed on that. Don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, L'Heure de Sud and Django Bay haven't really struck me, so you'd probably be looking into something else. I think Gavin Cromwell mentioned only by night going here when Sergino come out, but when you actually start to look down, he probably does stand out, but there's nothing superstar wise in there, I don't think now. I
do think only by night will come in. I mean, I don't think she stays the 2.5, especially if it's soft ground. I think Richie's that one's in bin for you there, Rich.
Never mind. That's not the only one.
When we do Rich.
When we do the last Cheltenham thingy show on Monday, we'll go through them, and it's not going to be up a reading. Scott is on green and Scott mates, but Woodsy loves commentary. Pass it on. That's not true. It's not true. Leeds all the way. We're going up as champions. I'll leave that one to everyone else.
Just have a little.
What is that? Oh my god! Oh, chuffing! No, someone's got to support him. Someone's got to support him, haven't they, George?
Yeah, exactly. It's difficult at times, but nine very difficult years in particular.
Are you Arteta out yet? I mean, he's not. He can't win. No. He can't win. He's not won what 10 Hags won, has he?
He's not. But we're not bothered about cups. We're all in.
It's all about second. That's what it's all about.
That's it, mate. That's it.
We don't care about cups.
We don't even need to buy a striker. Apparently, Mikel Merino's top striker now. So.
Mikel Merino, what a player!
I was convinced. I was convinced he was an absolutely shocking buy, but it turns out we've just been playing him in the wrong position.
Chuffing Arsenal. I can't believe Liverpool going to win it. Anyway, we'll move on. That's enough football talk for tonight. Go on then, Joe. I mean, we're going to talk about the National Chase. Obviously, it's now a handicap. I think it's a 0-145 handicap. You got Now Is the Hour, who was kind of a well-backed favourite currently. Had to clause. I know a few people quite like him. Transmissions in here. Saint Magist in here. Will do sort of bigger the rest. You've got a thought on this sort of race, and obviously handicaps, it can be quite tough at this point. But what are your thoughts, mate?
I did have a little look through. I quite like that high tea colours. Seems pretty, his run at Newbury wasn't too bad, was it? Sean Bourne, I watched that. He ridden him pretty dead at the back, didn't he? And just kept him staying on. If you watch that as a run and you watch it back and you look, what would you want what type of run would you want before a handicap, a big handicap, a competitive handicap? You would have probably said that. New owners now. I wouldn't be surprised to see this horse go off favourite, to be honest. He's clearly been bought for this, or runs in the new colours for this. And it screams a Cheltenham buy, to be honest, doesn't it?
I think it's mad because the old owners have been trying to win a Welsh national for as long as I can remember, and they finally got one. They sold it.
That's what I mean. It just seems very, very strange, but I don't know. Why would you buy him now? Do you know what I mean? I feel like it's a very strange buy, but it's obviously a buy with intent, and
yeah,
I'm not too sure really, but that's one I would angle into with.
Yeah, what do you think then, George? I mean, obviously there's been a plunge in the market, obviously on Now Is the Hour. What do you think of him? Are you on sort of Hattical laws? I know they run him over hurdles last time. We're thinking that's to sort of protect the mark and things like that. There's quite a lot going on, isn't there?
I don't get it with Now Is the Hour. Like, I've had a little look, and certainly he's too short for me to be backing now. I can't back what I can't see, and maybe he's not been off, but there is. Was it Captain Cody finished slightly in front of him the last day? I'd be almost more inclined to go that way.
Fourth behind it, 3-car Brad, Captain Cody in third, so a couple of lengths in front of him, yeah.
And if one of them wasn't off, it's probably Captain Cody to me. But I'd just go into the Haiti Colour transmission form line, because that's obviously fairly important for this race. Now, Haiti Colour was receiving £2 that day, reopposing off the terms they have now. Transmission will be receiving £2. It's £4 swing at the weights for a 2.5 length beating, I think. Which, look, they're all improving at different rates. It might not make the world of difference. It's worth bearing in mind. The problem I have with that form line is Peaky Boy finished very close to them, and I don't think he stays 3 miles. I really don't. And like, I was there at Ascot on Saturday, and certainly that didn't do any more to make me think he gets the trip. Like, I can't see it, and I think he was sold for reasons other than his ability. I imagine he was sold for the same reasons that owner sells most of their horses. But Sam Majest would be of interest if it did come up soft, but it would need to be soft. That would be one that you're back on the day. The one I've got that I think is really interesting at the minute at a bit more of a price is a work in progress of Nick Gifford's. He's run up a 5-timer. He beat Indoor at Fontball in March last year. He's obviously gone on to be a fairly useful chaser for David Maxwell. He's only just won by enough each time, but like, he won at Stratford in October on heavy ground, then on soft the last twice at Lingfield. Had a little break and got his 3-timer up at Lingfield. Was it last week? Yeah, last week. Mm-hmm. The thing that was really impressive for me this time around was he was up another 6. And I tell you what, it's the most professional he's been in his races. Like, he's looked very slow the 2 starts before, where he's been like ridden along and have to be build up to use his stamina. The last day, he was bang on the bridle all the way around. He just looked a different horse even to what we've seen so far, and I can see him improving further. He's out of a presenting dam as well, so I don't think the soft or heavy ground is essential to him. I think it's just Nick Gifford to be fairly old-fashioned, and he's a big horse, and I think he'd just be running him on soft ground to look after him. I think this horse is way too big a price at 20-1. Obviously, the weights are going to play a big part, but he's rated 121. He'd obviously have to get in still off that, which I think he would. But I think he's a fair bit better than that. Like, he performed to an RPR of 130 last day, which in theory would say he's well in, but you know, that's not an exact measurement. I think he's way too big a price. But if you were to push me for a win in each way now, it'd be a work in progress each way, Captain Cody to win. And if it turned up real soft, I might have an interest in Sam Majest on the day just to defend against Captain Cody. He probably wouldn't like that.
Yeah, no, I think they're all really valid points. I mean, I'll come to you, Rich. I normally tend to back these on the day, see what the ground's like and things like that. What are your overall thoughts? You got anything you got your eye on?
I mean, I was hoping the White Rhino was going to come here, but he's not
Oh
qualified.
yeah, sure. I forgot about this.
That's another
We were
anti-post.
all on White Rhino.
Yeah,
20-1 captain for the chuffing Cheltenham show. No
One in the
entry.
bin. Yeah. So I'm looking at this race with fresh eyes.
Apologies to anyone who's followed Rich through the whole season, by the way.
Yes, it's not recommended. The favourite now is the hour. I'm a bit like George. I don't really see it. I mean, I think people are still looking at his entry win by 12 lengths over 3 miles. I mean, he's not really fired over fences. I mean, he was fourth last time out with Captain Cody ahead of him in third. Rated 125. I mean, if this had been the plan all the season, he could be thrown in off that, I suppose. The one I've kind of looked at, I'm not % sure if he runs here, but I think he's about 10s, no winner, no bet, would be Search for Glory. I mean, he finished a second to Stellar Story in a Grade 2 in November over 3 miles. We've obviously seen Stellar Story come out and push Better Days Ahead to go down by a neck last time out. Better Days Ahead, I think, is going for the Browns, potentially. It's quite interesting. These next 2 runs, they dropped him back. So he ran over 3, finished a short head second to Stellar Story. The next time he ran over 2 miles 3 and then stepped up to 2 miles 5. I just think they are doing that to try and get his mark down a little bit. I mean, I think he's rated 144. Might be slightly high. I mean, if he does get taxed on that, I don't think. Again, I think 145. I think is the bracket. But 10-1, no run, no bet. I think if he does get in, he's probably the one I'd probably chance each way. I think just given that Stellar Story form line and then winning shorter trips.
No, that's fair enough. I think, like I say, it's it's a handicap now. It's going to be tough. You more want to wait till day, but if there's something you really fancy, why not go for it? The one that
is there a chance he goes for the Kim Muir though? That's the thing I thought. Like I said, non-runner, no bet. Fair enough.
Yeah.
I had a good look at him. He's too big a price for sure. I'd say he's definitely too big a price. But I think that's where I came down on the side of the McManus horse there. A work in progress is McManus has the first 3 in the betting for the Kim Muir already. So I'd say like he will probably come here. Search for Glory. I don't know how much of a hand Gordon has in the Kim Muir, but he would be probably one of his best chances in the race.
I'll probably back him whichever race he turns up in, but yeah, no runner, no bet, I think is.
And Gordon and Gigginstown have a really good record in the Kim Muir as well. Is a point worth making. But I just thought I'd put that in.
I think, like you say, you're going to get a lot of double into triple or whatever, and some could go as long as you get a non-runner, no bet. I think that's the best way to play it at the moment.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a good race. I'm looking forward to it. The other one that took my I mean, I don't know if I quite like Resplendent Grey in here. I thought he had some decent form. That race at Cheltenham behind Jaguar, obviously, it didn't look like he run much race. Took him a while to get going. Sean Bowen managed to get him. I know if it beat 14 lengths, but he kind of stayed on anyway. I thought he could be one hiding in here at a big price, but yeah, off 142. See if he goes there or not. I know he's entered anywhere else, but we shall see. That was kind of my little punt on it. Non-runner, no bet, obviously. Right. The big one. The one that we're all waiting for, guys. The one that I've been waiting for. Are you ready? Where is it? The Brown Advisory. Novices Chase.
Oh,
Here we go. Right. We have Ballyburn as favourite. 2-1 has long gone. 7-4 now, best price. Dancing City 3-1. Better Days Ahead. Croke Park, Lecky Watson, Stellar Story, Django Bay, Keedy Bourbon, Champ Kylie, Gorgeous Tom, Bigger the Rest. Who should we go first here? Go on, Jolly, you go first, Joe. Joe, do we think Ballyburn is going to win this race, or have you got anything you think might beat him? Or did you go to the Arkle?
I just think he jumps too slow. I like Dancing City.
Everyone's entitled to their opinion. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. No, I'm not.
I just think Ballyburn. I know he's took a bit of stick off some people. He's a horse this year who's split a lot of camps. but I just think he's so impressive. I mean, for a horse who's had 3 chase runs and he's won a grade 1 and come second in a grade 2 at Kempton, or 2 mile at Kempton on good ground against Sergino. I mean, let's be honest, that was never playing into his hands. You know, he absolutely hacked up at Cheltenham last year. I remember seeing him coming up that hill at Cheltenham last year and thinking, wow, this horse has got some engine and he's some animal. And I think 3.5 mile, I think his last run, he was only just getting going. I think the hill and the extra distance will be suiting down to the ground. And I genuinely think this lad will go off shorter than even money on the day when Paul Townend is on. I think he's a class above, to be honest. There was remarks straight after his last run from Willie saying the 3 miles will suit him so well. You know, we're so excited to see him up in distance again. I can't wait to see him either. 7-4, I think that'll soon be gone. And I think we'll be cheering on an even money odds on shot come Cheltenham, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I was on Dancing City early on in the season. I think a lot of people will have been. You know, with sort of Ballyburn going to the Arkle. I think it was a fair bet, and a lot of them have covered him at a better price. I'm fully convinced Ballyburn wins this now. I'm going to come to you, George. I mean, people talk about his jumping. We go on for this race IQ stuff. I think he lost 10 lengths to Croke Park in that race at the Dublin Racing Festival. People say he's a slow jumper. What do you make of that statement?
Right, you were right.
Tell me why it's complete and utter bollocks.
You were right to relate this to the Mashborough thing earlier because it's sort of copy and paste, to be honest. I'm just going through this. This is again straight from the cheat sheet, the Cheltenham cheat sheet, which will be available for £5 in a couple of weeks' time. Ballyburn is the class act to these. None of the others in this race have recorded an RPR above 152 except Django Bay, who's not coming here. Ballyburn recorded an RPR of 166 over hurdles in last year's, whatever it was called last year, the Gallagher, and 160 last time out in a grade 1 at DRF. He's going to stay. Like he's not a free horse. He's a strong horse. It's an important distinction to make. Like horses that are free and like shaking their head and have their head up in the air, they'll struggle to stay. Horses that are just leaning on you like him, it makes no difference. He just wants to get on with it. He's by Fleming's-Firth out of an old Vic mare. He's made for this. He's literally like you made him in a factory for this. I've got no reservations based on his jumping. Like, if he had a jumping problem, he wouldn't have gone to 3 out with Sergino around Kempton over 2 miles. Like, his jumping kept him in it. There was the fence where they went absolutely mad about Sergino. Like, he's taken a massive leap. Ballyburn stood off another 3 foot away from it than Sergino did. Like he was brilliant that day, and I think that's why what happened at Leopardstown happened. They were worried that they'd blown the head off him over 2 miles around Kempton. They were like, now you need to come back. Now you need to come back and you need to pop because you've got to go 3 miles in a month's time.
So we're going to get you into the bottom of them all and let you sort your sin out and let you get over it.
Exactly. Just like Mashborough. I think he needs to jump more conservative. So he went up in trip. Remember, they did this with Galopin Des Champs. Remember when everyone was worried when they started dropping Galopin Des Champs in and letting him pop away and be like, oh, he doesn't jump as well, he doesn't do this, doesn't do that, and he went and won a Gold Cup. It was just a season later in his development because he was fast enough. Well, they had the turners. This is what Ballyburn would be doing this season instead. They wouldn't have needed to do this early if he could run the turners. But look, I don't think he'll improve as much as some of these for going 3 miles. But I think he's far enough clear on the ratings that the others will need to find £10. I don't think they will. So, again, apologies. The cheat sheet's not finished, so I have still got 2 more to talk about. Is Croke Park. I think it's an obvious each-way alternative. He headed Ballyburn, jumping last in the DRF for getting outpaced. He's a guaranteed stayer, having won a Grade 1 novice chase and a beginner's chase over 3 miles over fences. So I think he'll probably finish closer to Ballyburn and Cheltenham. I don't think he'll beat him, but he'll finish closer to him. And the main thing that makes me prefer him to Dancing City or Better Days Ahead is his versatility. He's won over 2 mile 4 and 3 miles and a half a furlong over fences, which shows he has the tactical speed and the stamina necessary to be competitive in the Brown Advisory. Whereas speed's going to be an issue for Dancing City, I think. I can't see him. If Ballyburn makes a move going down the hill, I don't know that Dancing City can cover it. He'll be staying on at the end. probably be in the first three, but Paul Townend's a master of tactics, and he'll know how to get Dancing City beat. And the reason I prefer him to Better Days Ahead is he's ground versatile. He's won a Grade 1 Novice Chase this season on good to yielding, and he won a Grade 3 Monksfield Novices Hurdle on soft to heavy last season. Meanwhile, Better Days Ahead has 4 wins to his name on ground between soft and heavy. His only win on yielding ground came in a 4-runner Novices Chase, where his only credible opponent was Slade Steele, who massively underperformed. So at 10-1, I think he's a knocking each way bet, and you do it now while you still get 3 places, because again, we don't know you will do on the day. And then the one that's a bit of a wild one, which I probably don't think has surprised people, because I do have a soft spot for this horse. I think Champ Kylie can be a bit of a dark horse in here for a place. Like his hurdles form's every bit as good as any of these except Ballyburn. Like he got an RPR of 151, finishing 3rd behind Amperic Pass and Gaelic Warrior in the 2023 Ballymore Novice Hurdle, and an RPR of 149 when he won the Lawless of Naas, like with Grade 1, which is the trial for the Turners. He showed that most of that ability remains, winning a beginner's chase at Fairy House by 11 lengths. And I'd say he probably bounced when he got beat at the DRF. It was only 32 days after returning from a 614-day break. And even so, he ran well up to a point. Like I think what's been noticeable about his 2 chase starts is the hanging, the pulling, the jumping out to one side or the other, which got in his way over hurdles, has gone. Like he's a much easier horse to ride now. And I think give him every chance of getting 3 miles, which he wouldn't have done over hurdles. And with that being the case, if he can improve going up to 3 miles, I can see him putting a performance in the mid 150s, which would be enough to run into a place at 25-1. So yeah, apologies for going on, but that's where we are with the cheat sheet so far. Loads of great boring insight like that for £5.
Yeah, basically, like I say, anything to give us an hand in trying to get some winners, mate. Like you say, there's all very, very valid points in there. I think it's great. Like I said, I come to you, Rich. Obviously, I was on Dancing City early on. I think unless it becomes an absolute bog, I think he might struggle to beat Ballyburn, to be honest. I think Paul Tannen's going to pick him. I think, like Joyce says there, he's going to know how to get him beat. I don't think he jumps slow. Like I say, his jumping kept him in against Regino. They've teaching him to settle a little bit. They held him back. Let's pop him. You could literally see Croke Park basically wing the last, and Paul's just let him pop it, give him a few taps at whip, and off he goes. See you later. Adios. Brown Advisory, thank you very much. So I'm going to stick with him. Yeah. Are you going to tell me why Dancing City wins or something, Rich? Come on, what are your thoughts, mate? Come on, let's hear it. What are you thinking?
There's no doubt Ballyburn's got an engine.
He's literally bred for stamina.
I'm not as convinced as everybody else, unfortunately.
The only person, apart from another lad on Twitter, who was
it was impressive. I mean, DRF, his engine got him out of it. I mean, at one point, Croke Park was upside him. I'm not convinced Croke Park has been a proper 3-miler, if that makes sense. I mean, yes, he's won 3 chase starts, but I mean, he beat Better Days Ahead, who's then nearly got beaten by Stellar Story. Stellar Story is just an out-and-out slug machine. He just keeps going. I'm not blown away with that. And Nectar Hartwood, who's potentially going to be lined up in a handicap. I just think 5 lengths to Croke Park isn't something to be shouting about. Don't get me wrong, he's the class angle in the race. His engine will probably get him through it. But like I say, if it did come off a slog, I think a few of these potentially might push him close. I mean, Stellar Story's in here at 20-1. If it is an absolute slog, he'll be staying on. I don't think he's got the class to win the race, but I think he's a decent each way sort of price. Dancing City, I'm not going to desert him just yet. I mean, he beat Bioluminescence last time out in a bog. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Like I say, Ballyburn probably does win just because he's got the class and the engine, but I don't think it'll be a superstar performance that everybody's expecting.
I know. I think it's less than 3 lengths. I think it's close. It's close, but I think he does just win. But I think he might be one for multiples at 2-1. Him, Majbro, Kopek, they board. There you go.
What about
3
Kopek, the
horses that are
boards,
too short
Ballyburn,
and back in their own
Tuku,
now.
Galway? So what you're basically saying there is, Rich, Ballyburn wins the race. That's what that's what I took from all of that. Nobody else has really got any form that's up there with him.
I think his class wins the race.
Class gets him through it. It probably will stay enough to get through against this lot.
I won't be backing him, but I think his class wins the race. But he's not one for me, to be honest.
He wins, but he's not a banker. He's 111. If he was 4-1, you'd be all over him.
Yeah,
I'm not this far out. It's too short.
I think there's still question marks, and I'm not 100% in his camp. I'd rather take him on. I'd rather take him on with the field. Put it that way.
Take him on with what? Sorry.
With the rest of the field.
Oh, right, okay, sorry. So you're saying there's a delay of the festival? Is that what you're saying?
Not delay of the festival, but I'm just saying I'm not backing.
You're saying you'd rather lay him than back him.
Are you going to lay him for me? Are you going to give me 2s, Rich?
I'm not backing him.
No, you'll give me 2s. I'll give you 20 quid. I'll have 2 to 1 where you can lay him.
No, you're all right.
Anyway, so that's the Brown Advisory, guys. We'll leave it at that then. Obviously, we know, we all happen a joke, but it's going to be a really good race. Let's hope they get there. What do we think ground's going to be? Good to soft in places, maybe something like that?
Heavy.
That won't be heavy on the Wednesday. Oh, it's been heavy before, to be fair.
You stood out in it on you on
The
Wednesday.
very last time I went, it was a chuffing. The Tiger Roll.
The heavens opened.
Oh my God, it was horrendous that day. I don't think it'll be like that. What were it last year?
What was it like, George?
What, like for the Browns? I wasn't
Yeah.
there for the Browns.
Oh,
I was
no, you
obviously
weren't.
on the Tuesday last year, but it was.
What was it like on the Tuesday? I can't even remember now.
It was.
Nice.
It was soft. It was soft, but I don't think it. I don't think it rode us like proper soft.
It
like,
was
like Lucia finished 3rd in Champion Hurdle.
It
Like,
was soft heavy on the Wednesday last year.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. But I thought for the whole festival it wasn't as bad as they kept saying.
No, I didn't. No, not
Corbett's
all.
Cross won the National Hunt Chase. Like there were results on the Tuesday that meant it couldn't have been. Slade Steele, he's a speed horse. He won the Supreme. It couldn't have been that bad. There wasn't. I don't think there was a single result on the Tuesday that made me think it was as bad as they said it was.
It was a poor Supreme though.
It was a poor Supreme, yeah. In the fullness of time, very, very poor.
It won't be a poor bear in Bingham. Anyway, right, moving on to... We'll have a little look at obviously the Jack Richards Novices Limited Handicap Chase, Grade 2 now. Jaguar's in his favourite. Nürburgring Firefox, no flies on him. 10-1 Springwell Bay's in here. A few others in here. I'll come to you, George, but you can kick us off if you've got anything on your cheat sheet and stuff like that. Have you got anything? I mean, obviously, might go in too deep, but have you got anything you maybe got your eyes on for this? Or what do you think of Jaguar?
We haven't gone into the handicaps on the cheat sheet yet, as the weights haven't been
A bit
published.
early into it, really.
I won't bore you as heavily as I've done the other ones, but I do think I speak as plainly as I know how. I don't think Nürburgring's been off a yard all season. And look, who was one of the main people pushing for the Turners to become a handicap was Kevin Blake. And he's the racing manager for this lot, and they love a gamble. Mm-hmm. Like he's £10? Yeah, he's £10 lower over fences than he was over hurdles. And I think he's made like one mistake in public. He jumps fine. Like he's been absolutely laid out for this. And I think he's probably the bet for me, but it'd be. I'd say he will be backed on the day. So if you're not in, I'll get him on side if you haven't got him on side. Two, I thought bigger prices that I could get involved in potentially on the day are Leader in the Park, who is 16-1. Thought just whatever happened first time out at Cheltenham, he just underperformed, and he's been great since. He clearly just does enough, and he's proven at the trip. He's rated 129. I think he's probably got a little wiggle room off that. Like he could be a good each way bet on the day. And the other one is Asian Master. He's just running 2 races. He can't win over fences so far. And like he is, even though he's only had 2 starts over fences, he's qualified for this because he's running Hunter Chases, I believe.
Yeah. Yep.
So he ran the Hunter Chase at Tipperary.
That's correct. Yep.
In May 23. But he's been beat by Majbro and Mr. Giff. There's no shame in that. He was good enough to finish 4th in I know what we're saying. We've just said he's below par Supreme. But look, this horse wants a trip. He's always wanted a trip. They just kept him at 2 miles last year because he kept winning or kept running well. He beat Better Days Ahead by 10 lengths in a novice hurdle at Navan. Who again in the fullness of time maybe wasn't off. But look, you go back to his form. His first ever start, he was second by 6 lengths to Factor File and a Bell Harbour point to point. Bell Harbour point to points are seriously competitive. We paid very handsomely for one out of a Bell Harbour made in a few years ago, 15, 20 years ago. Long ago than I care to remember. It was an absolute machine. Beat the Midnight Club there. But the Bell Harbour maidens are very, very good. And it just makes you think back up to 2.5 mile. This horse could probably, he's going to find some improvement for sure. And he's currently rated £1 lower over fences than he was over hurdles. I can't believe this horse is only a 143 horse. And it might be a case of the jockey. He wouldn't have many rides, Tom Costello, junior, I suppose he is. He's the third in line of Tom Costello's. I think he would be getting to grips with him as he goes. I watched him ride behind Majbra, and he just looked a bit rusty, to be fair, Tom Costello. And I think he's only going to improve with more goes on him over fences. I could just see him running well back up in trip. Which, funny enough, now I say that, the horse we bought out of the Bell Harbour point to point 20 years ago was Mr. Tom Costello claims Seven's uncle, Mr. Tom Costello. But yeah, he'd interest me. Leader in the Park would interest me. But if I was going to have a bet now, which I'm not going to because I've already backed him, is Nürburgring.
Yeah, I think you're right there. I think, you've got ones hidden in here. Nürburgring's one. No Flies on him as another, So, I mean, he's off 132. Will he get in? Don't know, maybe not. Asian Master and obviously Jaguar at the top of the market is probably the 4 I'm kind of looking at the moment and see what we end up on. But Joe, come to you, mate. What have you on your radar for this?
This was the one I had written down, and I remember when he won at Galway, the hurdle, and it is Nürburgring. I always had a little connection with him after it was Cheltenham last year when Salva finished 3rd, Nürburgring was 4th, Cargill 2nd, and Majbra won, and I backed Nürburgring and Salva. And then I remember Joseph come on after and said, he'd be a lot better on better ground. And he seemed to go, after Cheltenham, he went to Punchestown, ran a good race there on soft again. And then he went up, he went in a flat race at Leopardstown and reappeared at Galway. And he won there. And I think he opened up about 12-1. He got backed into 13-2. And then ever since, he's ran well, but just hasn't got there. And then the last run was at Leopardstown. He finished 9th out of 13. And I just think if he gets there, which he probably will. I think was he 12s at one point or 14s? He's into 8s now. Best price. What price did you get him at, George?
I think not far off what he is now. Maybe 10s. Maybe I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. But it's worth bearing in mind that when he won the Galway hurdle, that was off 139, and he absolutely hosed up off 139. He's now rated 140 over fences. Like if he's going to get a few extra pounds from the English handicapper for sure, but I can't see how they can justify making him more than 145. Which I think if he'd had 145 that day at Galway, he'd still have won.
Oh, easily, 100%. And I think it'll be an added bonus if the ground is good. I think if the ground is good or got good in the description, I think Nürburgring will definitely go off a lot shorter than 8-1. It'll be interesting to see what the English handicapper does. And I think if the English handicapper doesn't go too mad on him, I think this will be the horse that sees the biggest amount of movement.
Well, I'd say that in his favour. Is it the it's the Golden Miller. Let's call it what it is. It's the Golden Miller. Is it now the second race on the Thursday? So
it is the second race.
And the first race
now.
Being a hurdle race.
Yeah, the Mayor's Novice Hurdle is the first race this year.
So this will be the first race run on the new course of the week. So
Yep.
even if we get plenty of rain, it'll be fresh ground. Like even if it was good to soft in places, or good to soft in places, it'll be unused ground, which
Oh, 100%.
for a horse that wants good ground will be helpful.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's not a massive bet for me, but after hearing George say that, it might get a bit stronger. But yeah, no, I do think this is a decent bet for me, to be honest.
You can just see him getting absolutely plunged in, can't you?
Oh, 100%.
To the day.
100%.
You want same wavelength? What do they call you? Flex then? Got a mate called Flex. Rich. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, just going back to Jaguar, I mean, he started the campaign off 118, and I think he won last time off 132. So
We did win. We did win really well, to be fair. I think obviously we don't know it's like the Irish contingent. Obviously they're going to look stronger in this race, aren't they? Whether we'd be good enough to win it.
Last time out, he jumped better than we've ever seen him. I think he's improving still.
And he drifted that day as well. He had a bit of a bad drift, didn't he? Because we're all saying, I think the double with the Rocco went off 50-1. And when Jaguar went in, I was thinking, oh my God, what's happening here?
Yeah, I think he's got a good chance. Like I said, I think Nürburgring, I think everybody on Twitter knows that this is the race that he's been aimed at. I mean, I can't really get excited about it. It's a handicap, isn't it, now?
Come on, you love it.
Let's just move on. Bring back the old Turners. What was wrong with the old Turners?
There's always one horse in a handicap, though, in the week that gets gambled in, and gambled in heavily. And George mentioned the connections, and I think this genuinely could be the one. It wasn't an absolute monumental gamble over in Ireland, but I remember on the morning I backed him at the Galway Hurdle. I'm sure I got 12s or 13-2, and I was 12s, 11, and he got not hammered in, but he got a lot shorter in a very quick space of time. I'm certain it was about, I went in on the morning, got best odds guaranteed, and within half an hour of bookies opening in the country, it gone, long gone.
Yeah, the owners do like a gamble, don't they? I think I was there at Fairy House when I saw Solness win a handicap chase for him off. I'd hate to think hold on, I'll have it here in a second. Was it Fairy House? 2nd of December 2023. Won a handicap of 138. It's now rated 161. That's the sort of owners you're talking about. And I'll tell you what, everyone on course was talking about this horse. It was this, and I think Waterford Whispers ran on the cards. It was a hell of a card.
Horse, George.
I went for one random day's racing at Fairy House, and there was Solness, and Iron Maximus the next day. Jalon Duderis won the bumper. Ballyburn got beat by Firefox in the maiden hurdle. It was a serious day's racing.
Yeah.
All I'll say is, if I move on to this race, if the Turners were still the normal Turners, Rich would be all over Ballyburn at 8-11 on.
Yeah. Wouldn't we all?
Be all over him.
But it'd be 4-7.
Yeah, be 4-7 on, and you'd be thinking, yeah, banker.
Well, no, you'd have backed him anti-post, wouldn't you, at 2s, and you'd be happy.
Yeah,
I backed him anti-post for the old Turners at significantly higher, and luckily it gets voided because it's a different race now.
Now we've got a nice handicap to get stuck into.
I had Ballyburn and Sergino in an Arkle Turners double, and I think Sergino was 10s. Not sure what Ballyburn was, but not far off that. What a double that would have been. And then Ballyburn parts void and Sergino doesn't run.
What did you get Sergino at, Joe?
Me, 8.
I thought it was 12-1. I thought a bit more.
Oh, on here?
Well, yeah, whenever, yeah. I think best price when you put him up, it were 12s, obviously.
Yeah, I think it was 10s on here, and I might have got 12s. I'm not too sure, but anyway, the slips in the bin.
All I'll say is, last year Sergino was out, Masborough won. This year Sergino's out, Masborough's probably going to win. But how things happened, isn't it? Right, moving on then, we'll talk about the last race. Obviously, that's the novice chase is done. We're going to chuck the mare's chase in here because it's just one of them races. We'll chuck it in. Dino Blue's favourite. Bioluminescence horse I've been quite strong on. Quite early on, 12s now into sort of 10-3, 3-1. Obviously, a little bit ground dependent. Probably does want it soft. Dino Blue, does she really stay? Allegory Devassi, can you trust her? Limerick Lace won it last year. Only by night. If she's going to go to the Arkle, does she stay? Sort of 14-1 bigger the rest. I'll come to you, Rich, mate. You obviously put only by night up. She's probably not going to go here shit. If it's soft ground, do you think Balloon's going to win?
Yes, I think if it's soft or any sort of soft, I think Biolimisters just wins. Dana Blue, I think I backed her last year, got turned over by Limerick Lace. I'm with you. I think this stretches her. Allegory Devassi is up and down like a roller coaster. I couldn't really back her. Yeah, and apart from that, there's not a lot else to say. Only by Light's going to go to the Arkle. Then you're looking at 14-1 bigger the rest. It's quite straightforward for me, I think, this race.
Love it. Go on then, George. Mare's Chase. Same questions I'll post to you, mate.
Yeah, Dino Blue doesn't stay. Allegory Devassi's had plenty of chances.
I was on her that day when she got done by Impervious. I thought she was going to win that all day long, and then she just 100%. Fell in a hole.
But Impervious, I watched it in the Paddy Power Cheltenham fan zone in London, and I think most of the place were on her. But Impervious,
Allegory.
So yeah, but Impervious was so tough that day, like so.
Yeah,
tough.
She were really good that day. It's such a shame she's been rife with injury, but
don't. I thought she'd make it back this season, but
well, they were sort of mentioning that she might want there, but then she obviously sat back again.
Look, Limerick Lace have won it at Bog and has been significantly below standard this season. Only by Night doesn't come here. Bioluminescence probably should be favourite. The only little niggling thing with me, I think she'll win. The only niggling thing with me is she's 3 mile 1 on heavy the last day and she produces a career best. It's dropped down to 2 mile 4 on lightly good to soft at the worst, really what she wants. She might be good enough and young enough that it doesn't matter. She's the improving horse. I'm going to take a chance on another improver. And Jesus, I can't believe I'm backing a Lucy Wadham horse at the Cheltenham Festival. But Telepathique was very good the last day. Very, very good. Like, receiving £6, but she's handed a serious beating to Bride's Hill. She's improved literally every start this season. She started in October at Fakenham. She won by 11 lengths. Recorded an RPR of 123. Her RPRs since then have gone 126, 129, 147, 151. I wouldn't like to put a ceiling on her. Like she's only a 7-year-old. She's improving fast, and I think where are we? We've given Racing Post for this race have given her an RPR of 163, which, given Bioluminescence hasn't performed to that yet. Dino Blue has but won't here. Allegory Devassi has but won't here. I don't think she should be 14s. I really don't. I think she should be single figures. I think you do much, much worse than back her each way now before Only by Night comes out and potentially one of these other 3 as well. Because I don't know that JP will be keen to have 3 here, but then I don't know how much choice he'll have when you got 2 different trainers involved. But Telepathique is well worth taking a chance on, given this is her trip. And that she's improving. I'd take a chance on her at 14s each way.
Yeah, she actually smashed the horse that I put up for it last year. Heretier was back about 12 lengths behind her that last day. So I think the form of theirs, like I say, there's pretty decent. Joe, you can finish us off, mate. Mare's Chase. Like I say, I mean, to be fair, Bioluminescence is obviously dropping back in trip. If it's soft ground, I think hopefully she'll handle it. Like I say, she's solid 7. She should be able to. What do you think, Joe, mate, to finish us off?
Yeah,
I think we might have a swing round the Frankfurt weekend, but that'll do us in with Cheltenham. Go on.
Yeah, I think she's definitely the one in the field who is definitely on the up, and you sort of, you're going to see improvement. How much improvement we don't know. Fingers crossed. I know you've got her at a good price. Fingers crossed. The ground's okay for her, and she will improve. And she should be at that age where she is. If she's going to win a Mare's Chase and she's at that level. Don't get me wrong, if the ground's rattling, but, I feel like Cheltenham are not going to have it, catastrophically, firm. And I feel like there won't be any excuses, put it that way, on the day. If she is good enough, she'll be there and she'll be good enough to win. It was quite interesting what George said there. And when he mentioned telepathic, I did have a look through, and I think it is basically because of the trainer that she isn't much shorter.
Yeah.
I don't think the Bride's Hill form is anything to go by, though.
I mean,
She's a good horse, she's a good horse, and she's kicked her out of the way.
Not bashing Bride's Hill, are you?
I was there at Doncaster and she ran no sort of race whatsoever. And I saw bits of the last one. Wasn't for me.
No, I mean, I just think when you look...
Violence tonight, you, Rich.
when you look and you've got like Allegory Devassi in there, Limerick Lace, Dino Blue, Only by Night, who's going to come out, and then you're at Telepathic, who's at 12-1. Then you're looking at, well, who is going to be in there, who's going to turn up. All of a sudden, a few come out. Allegory Devassi doesn't run her race. Dino Blue arguably doesn't stay, and then all of a sudden, you're hitting her at 12-1, which isn't really a bad shout, is it? But I think Bioluminescence is definitely the one you'd sort of side with. It's going to look a very, very good price if she bolts up at 3-1, or if she doesn't, you're probably going to say, well, there was question marks. Do you know what I mean? I feel like there's a swing for both ways, but definitely at the 10-1 spot that you got her in, I think you're sitting all right there, James.
It should be said she's been declared on Saturday as well by Bioluminescence.
Yeah, she has. So we'll see what happens there.
I just say the thing for me is Telepathic is actually on official ratings is rated £2 higher, and she's pretty much, other than one run at Warwick, which I presume is just for lack of options, she's pretty much run at 2 mile 5 or 2 mile 4 all season, and the progression's been steady. With Bioluminescence, I'm left going. She started the season at 2-4, has had her last run over 3-1. Is the improvement coming from the step up in trip, or is she just improving? Because then if it's coming from the step up in trip, I'd be worried about her dropping back down. But so she's in over 2-6 on Saturday, so I guess we'll find out on Saturday.
Yeah, we'll definitely see. I mean, I'm one of them where obviously I've backed her before at a decent price. You kind of, if you're looking at it fresh now, 3-1. I mean, you'd prefer an each way price.
Yeah, it's a price thing for me.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I think obviously, you'd wait if you're going to back them now at a sort of not each way price. Maybe wait for the day or closer to the day. See how, especially I see how she goes at the weekend. If something happens at the weekend, then obviously we've bust anyway. But if she could drop back a trip and still win, and she drop back a little bit more, she might be all right. Go on, Joe.
I did find last year, when you put horses on before Christmas, especially before DRF and the big meetings over Christmas, if you call them right, you do get a big shift in the markets. I feel like if you back them now, unless you've got like a Nürburgring who gets gambled on, or you've got the horse in the handicap, I don't think the markets are going to shorten massively. From now, maybe on the day they will. Like Cornell's probably going to go off a fair bit shorter if he gets there and turns up. Fingers crossed he does. But in terms of horses from now, I feel like till this probably the week before, I don't think there's going to be a massive shift in the markets unless you see non-runners or horses being pulled out or injuries. That's what I found last year anyway.
But this is, Jack, this is where if you weren't versed in these sort of things, you would need the Cheltenham Festival 2025 cheat sheet featuring a win selection, each way selection, and detailed betting advice.
I will be purchasing
plug-in
of how to back the horses and when to back the horses, because it features advice on how the market is likely to change, when you'll get the best price, when you'll get the best each way terms, and basically just the best time to back the horse.
Basically, if you spend £5, you're going to make well over £500 in profit. So hit this guy up.
I ran the numbers on the profit and loss returns based on if you back them SP versus if you back them when I told you to back them last year. And you get a good, I think, £14 per pound less if you backed them at SP than if you backed them at the prices I advised when the cheat sheet came out. So that's why this year I'm putting very detailed betting advice in there to make sure, like down to like some of them, I'd say I've just got Champ Kylie in front of me now. say, just for an example, Champ Kylie can be left until the day, as his price isn't likely to change, and he has a history of injuries. Only to play one to only play if there are generous each way or place only terms, and I would load the stake 0.25 points win, 0.75 points place. So it's very detailed in how and when to back the horses, because like Joe just said, some horses you can leave until the day because the price isn't going to change. Like Kopek Day Board say you'd leave until the day because bookies are always going to take on the favourite and the supreme.
I think Kopek you'll get a bigger price.
You will.
I remember
all the bookies will go out to get the favourite and the supreme, because if they
get the boost, they'll boost some Evans.
I remember Marine that year.
It's a win-win for the bookies. It's a win-win for them, because if they get him, they made a load of money. If they don't get him, it's the first race of the festival. Everyone who's made a packet on him is just going to spend it all back with them. That's why there's all these. The first race of every day, there are huge offers. And again, I'd include it in the cheat sheet where you get second, especially with like Sky Bet. I know do every single first race of the day. They'll do money back of horses second or third, or second, third, or fourth. That's where I'll always try and get a real good anti-post position on like the Supreme, the Browns, like the first race of every day anyway, and get a good each way anti-post position on one of the first couple in the market, because then I can just hedge up on the day. I was saying when Sir Gerhard won the Turners, I had Journey with me at 33s each way. He was second favourite, so I went, well, I've got money back if your horse finishes second, third, or fourth in the Turners. So I just have 50 quid on Sir Gerhard, because I was like to get it back, because it's not going to be out for 3. But yeah, it's there's ways of playing the game, especially when it comes to Cheltenham. Once you learn the ways the bookies work and that, where you can box a bit clever, or if you don't have the time, you can buy the Cheltenham cheat sheet 2025.
and if you use the Final Flight Podcast discount code FFP,
I'm giving it away for
100, you'll get a 0% discount on that purchase.
Okay, we'll sort out a discount code next year. This year, I just want to get people in the door, because it was very popular last year for free. But look, it's a lot of work, and
What's the reverse of a discount? The code could just add a $5 on, I think.
It'll be a tenner next year, but with the Final Flight, it'll be down to £5.
And to be fair, like you can pay a £5 to not have to listen to me on all the Cheltenham Festival previews. That's the real benefit of all of it. You don't have to listen to like my voice saying it. You just sit and read it at your leisure.
Yeah.
Correct. Sounds good. Right.
So will be fuming. The views for the podcast. Sorry about that.
The winners of all 4 championship races last year as well, and the 1-2 in the Coral Cup.
Langadan wins Coral Cup, don't they?
Jesus Christ. That was that's a good example actually. I put up Langadan at 10s and Ballyadam at 16s each way. I think they went off. What did Langadan go off, like 7-2 or something?
Yeah, he went off short. He got plunged in, didn't he?
And Ballyadam got backed into 13-2. So again, back them when I say to back them. Don't wait until the day and moan at me it doesn't pay out.
We love it. Right then, all good stuff there. Lads, last thing then, have any of you got anything you'd like to maybe chuck out for the weekend? Anything you got your eyes on, Rich? You know you might have a couple and then we'll finish up. But it's been a good show. I've enjoyed that. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, there's 4 that I'm going to play maybe in Lucky 15 or something. In the Pendle, Robord, finished a length second to Lourdes Sud in the Kingmaker. I think that's quite decent form. I think if he stays up, he should probably win that. The Adonis, you've got Mondo Man.
Would that be a Ballyburn form boost?
Who cares? Maybe, yeah. In the Adonis, you've got the Mondo Man. Obviously, there's no Alhambra Palladium. Ladbrokes Trophy, Highland for Henderson. And the Ida at Newcastle, Gaborio. I think he's about 10s or 12s. You get 6 or 7 places. And I think those 4 are the ones I'll be playing on Saturday.
Is Henry on Gaborio?
Yes.
That'll do me then. Joe, have you got off at weekend, mate?
Just Gaborio.
Gaborio.
Fingers crossed, mate. Yeah, fingers
He
crossed.
deserves a win, doesn't he? Are you on Mondo, man, George? Do you think he wins the Adonis?
I'm
Or
on
the
Mondo,
talk of
man.
the Lambert and all that was they're going to run, but now they're not, so it's piling, isn't it?
Look, I think he'd have won anyway. Kempton's going to be his track. I'm on him anti-post. My advice would be actually if you can get him evens or better, I'd back him for Saturday, but back him each way for the triumph. Like if he wins the Adonis, I know it's not the field we thought it'd be, but look, I think he beats Lulamba. I really
second to Hello Man. Yeah, is that what we're saying? Hello Neighbour.
Yeah, I think Hello Neighbour probably wins the triumph, but I think if Mondo Man's going to beat Lulamba, which I think he will, now he's got a bit more experience, he's not a 25-1 shot, is he? Like he's a cracking each way bet. So maybe that's the way to play it if you're not one to play at short prices on Saturday.
There'll be a boost on Paddy Power or William Hill to win on Saturday and win and
exactly. Yeah.
Might have a little dabble at that if it's decent.
That sort of thing for sure. I'm with you on Rubo. I think he really got the hang of it last day, and I think it's a credit to how well he ran because again he was a much better horse than Loda Sud over hurdles. Like I think people overreacted that Loda Sud only just sort of scrambled in, but he'd had a break and then have left a bit to do with him for Cheltenham. I think Rubo probably hoses in. Mondo Man wins. I like Lowry's bar in the handicap there at Kempton. Like you've got to think he would have hosed up in the Reynoldstown at the weekend, and he goes here off 148. I think he probably, and that's top weight. It's quite a lot for a youngish horse, but I'd be interested in him and the horse I liked in the eye that doesn't run. So that's that.
My last point, what do we think of Irocco? Skipping this year's national then and going for next year's national?
Oh, something's wrong.
Surely not.
I think if that actually happens, Joe will have an heart attack. You're at 50s, aren't you, Joe?
Yeah, I think I've got more on. I've just accumulated and accumulated and accumulated.
He's got you sweating, mate, as old Ollie.
It is what, to be fair, I normally do it for Cheltenham, but I haven't really gone in on the anti-post markets this year as much as I normally do. So I thought, you know what, I'll have a dabble on Irocco. Well, we thought we knew where he was going. God knows now. He'll probably turn up in the Gold Cup or something.
I mean, if he runs well at Kelso next Saturday, I can't see why they wouldn't go to National.
No, I mean, I think it would be very disappointing because as a racehorse, no matter who you look at, who it is, it seems very much of a wasted season because I feel like it's been the talk of Irocco all season, hasn't it? We're working back. And all of a sudden there's a bit, but I just think it's, it's like anything, the closer you get, it's a massive day for them. It's probably the one chance they have. They're going to be thinking about every little detail. Yeah, he hasn't had the most amount of, chase experience in big fields, but I think it would, obviously you've got to think of the horse, don't you? But fingers crossed he gets there.
Yeah, hopefully he does go, because it'll be a right waste of a season if he doesn't. He's got a decent weight, why not have a crack? But we shall see.
I'll give you one more.
Go on, then, George. Last one to finish us off, mate.
Not this weekend, next weekend. I'm finally going to get out on a race course, touch wood. We got Larry goes to
Larry!
Come on, Larry! So he had a touch of a virus around Christmas, and it just knocked him out completely. Like he was about 2 degrees temperature wise from being hospitalised, and we brought him back from essentially nothing, got him fit again. He's going to have a spin round Arkle next Sunday, and then all the marbles at Parham on the 29th of March. And we've missed the boat to qualify for any of the big hunter chases, but we'll have a laugh anyway. So if anyone's listening who goes to the pointing and that, especially down Arkle or Parham Way, come and say hello.
George, I'll make a promise on this podcast. If Nürburgring wins at Cheltenham Festival, I'll turn up on the 29th of March.
On the 29th of March, you can stay with me, mate. It's 20 minutes from my house.
In full support, I will be there.
Yeah,
That's it then, all aboard,
Just bring
Nerd.
your shishkin scarf or whatever, because it's the same colours.
Will do.
Oh, I really hope Nürburgring wins now. Love that, lads. Right, well, that'll do us tonight. Obviously, thanks for all your opinions and your quotes and what you've said. I think it's going to be a good Cheltenham festival. Novice Chases has been well and truly spoken about. Then hopefully you've all enjoyed listening. We're going to be back next Thursday. I can't remember what we're doing next Thursday. Was it maybe Open Chases, something like that? We'll have a look at whatever we're going to do next week anyway, and then it'll be leading on to the actual full festival preview that we're going to announce shortly as well. So all the details of that will be up shortly. Anything else you'd like to say before we go?
No, all good.
No.
Enjoy.
No.
You're lucky.
Good to be
All
back.
good.
Be lucky. Roll on the Cheltenham Festival.
Nice to have Joe back. Are you back next week, Joe?
No, I'll be travelling home Thursday.
Oh, that didn't fucking last long,
See you
did it?
next season, Joe.
There you go,
You'll
Lord.
be
See you later,
travelling
Joe.
down to Arkle to watch Larry.
Yeah. So we've had Joe for his one-off show of the year. Get George's cheat sheet. Ballyburn wins. Thank you very much, everybody. Like and subscribe to the channel. We'll see you all next time. Thank you and goodbye.